Let me call the conference together. We're going to start with an order of the day, which is a report. So let me invite you to take your seats as quickly as you can. My name is Bishop Mike Coiner. I'm currently serving in Indiana area after having served the Dakotas area. And I'm backed up by two other class of 1996 bishops, Janice Huey from the Texas Conference and Jonathan Keaton from the Illinois Great Rivers Conference. All three of us are retiring this year, but we're here to try to help you through the session. As we get ready to begin with the call to order and the order of the day, which is a report on global social concerns, I invite you to pause and join me in prayer. Let us pray. God, we thank you for this day. Though it's been a busy and full one already, we know we have much more work to do, so we seek your guidance and your direction as we go about our business this afternoon. We know we're all having people rush back from lunch, so we pray that you'll allow us to convene in peace and be guided by your Spirit. We pray in the name of Christ. Amen. As we gather, I would invite you to write down one piece of data somewhere on your table to share it with others who are not here yet, and it's a dollar figure. It is $1,388.89. $1,388.89. In my role as president of the General Council and Finance Administration, I asked, what does it cost us to run General Conference? And the answer is it costs $1,388.89 per minute. I say that not to rush you or me, but to remind us not to, as John Wesley said, not to trifle our time. So we begin with an order of the day this afternoon, and we will be ending this session with an order of the day at 3:53. The order of the day now is a report on the global social principles that the General Conference asked for. The 2012 General Conference referred this petition to the coordinating body at that time, which is now the connectional table. So let me call upon Amy to respond. Amy?
Thank you, Bishop. In 2012, the General Conference referred the petition on the revision of social principles to the coordinating body of the denomination. At that time, it was named the General Council for Strategy and Oversight. This defaulted back to the connectional table in our role of coordinating strategies for our collective mission. The connectional table then partnered with the Secretary of General Conference and the General Board of Church and Society to begin this work by funding the initial hearings through the World Service Contingency Fund. General Board of Church and Society took the lead and set forth a process that aligns this work with the work of the General Book of Discipline being done by the Standing Committee on Central Conference Matters. We now turn to the leaders of this work as they present the process for revising our social principles for our worldwide mission.
Thank you. I am Susan Henry Crow, General Secretary of the Board of Church and Society. I am pleased to be with you to discuss the work that Church and Society has engaged in over the last 4 years related to the social principles and where we see this work headed in the next 4 years. The social principles are the 73 statements of the General Conference on a variety of social concerns. With the gospel as the foundation and John Wesley as the visionary, these public positions offer a clear voice on behalf of United Methodists from around the world. Human rights, prison reform, living wage, ministry with the poor, care for all of God's people, health and wholeness, peace and justice are values and positions included in the social principles. These public statements emerge from the will of the church, and they reflect the pressing and relevant needs of the society as well as of the church. This quadrennium, Church and Society has heard voices from many United Methodists across the connection that the social principles are vital to all aspects of their lives. 7 listening sessions were conducted involving 200 United Methodists across the region's jurisdictions and conferences around the world. I want to give you a short glimpse into what this process has looked like over the last 4 years.
Friends, let me invite you to hold still. We have some folks who want to share their concerns. If you would remain seated and listen attentively. I understand they have said they will pass through. For those of you outside the U.S., these folks are with Black Lives Matter, and they are concerned about violence, particularly police violence in our cities. So I would invite you to hold still. We are not leaving the arena, but we're going to sit and be patient and listen to hear what the concerns may be. Thank you for your patience. Let me invite the conference to come back to order. I'm going to offer a prayer in a moment for what we've experienced. Let me say again for those delegates who are from outside the United States who may not understand, this group called Black Lives Matter has a lot of concerns about violence in our cities, including violence as they perceive it by police against black citizens. And so that's been part of their reason for wanting to express that concern. We share a lot of their value about love, not hatred. So as we get ready to reconvene, we'll go back in a moment to the order of the day we were on. I'd like to invite us to be in prayer, to pray that indeed what they have chanted, love, not hate, might also be part of our message today as well. Let's pray. God, we gather as your church in the midst of a world with a lot of hurt. There's hurt outside the church, there's hurt inside the church, and we have evidenced that in many directions this week. So we pray, Lord, that love might indeed be the message we share with the world and the message we receive from the world. We pray, O God, that love, not hatred, will be the way, because it is your way. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ, the one who came as the Prince of Peace, to share with us his message of love. Amen. Let me turn back to Susan, who was in the midst of presenting the report about global social concerns.
Thank you.
Social principles.
All lives matter, and the sessions that we heard spoke of that. These sessions were a rich experience that reflected the gift of our connection and bringing different perspectives and voices to dialogue together about the pressing needs and issues facing our world today. We heard from individuals who said the social principles are why they were drawn to the United Methodist Church, and others said engaging with the social principles have reignited their faith. The social principles empower United Methodists to bear witness to the gospel in communities. I want to share just one example of how the social principles impact the lives of people, and for that I want to turn to Reverend Paul Jaguna.
Holy God, we give you thanks for these youth here in
No one knows better than Reverend Paul Jaguna that the church cannot be silent to the issues that envelop one's community.
The people and the community that we are dealing with is a community that is in great need, almost in every area of their life. There is poverty level, there is a lack of education, there is health problems, and you cannot separate the religious issues with the normal way of life. You are not only dealing with issues that are spiritual, but also issues that are physical.
We are so grateful that the Lord has given us a new day.
He often turns to the United Methodist social principles to mobilize his parishioners.
I know the social principles have helped me in so many areas because I help the congregation to understand that the church that we are in is a church that is concerned with every part of our lives.
And each day, it's a new gift from God. Because
By challenging the community from the pulpit, he empowers them, reminding them of a part of their lives they can control.
A few years ago, every part of the road, wherever there is a fence, there were all sorts of papers, polythene papers. And every time I would even sometimes challenge my people in the pulpit on Sunday and ask them if they think the local government or people concerned are supposed to clean their area. I think we are even more responsible by just cleaning outside our doors and outside the gates where we come from. This is just to help them understand that the church is not only involved in going to heaven, spiritual matters, but also issues that surround us.
Jaguna also leads by example.
At my own home, my wife complains that I have planted trees almost every part, and now we don't have a place to plant the food, the normal food that we eat. And of course, I told her we have stayed for 3 years without harvesting, and I thought we would even better get some good fresh air from the trees than burning from the sun. And so I do most of these things by example. You come to my home, it's like a small forest.
The General Board of Church and Society is committed to continuing the theological and ethical thinking and an open process to bringing newly revised social principles to the 2020 General Conference for consideration.
I'm sorry, we're in the midst of an order of the day. I can't recognize you. I'll recognize you when their report is finished. No, you're not in order. I'll call on you after the report is finished. Thank you.
Building on the learnings of the listening sessions, Church and Society will continue the process of revising the social principles with participation from United Methodists across the connection. Public hearings will be held around the world where many people will participate in order to give expression to the realities of our many contexts. As the voice of the church on pressing issues of the day, the social principles deserve a process that calls for nothing less than our best investment of resources, our time, our theological, and our ethical thinking. Bringing revised social principles to the 2020 General Conference is an exciting mission. Together, we can ensure the social principles of the United Methodist Church become truly global. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I did have a point of order now. Was our point of information related to the report? Jennifer, do you go to microphone 2, please?
My point of order is to correct a misstatement by the General Secretary when she referenced what the protesters had been chanting as All Lives Matter, when in fact they chanted Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We turn now to the report of the Committee on Agenda and Calendar, who met over lunch to try to help us think through some of the issues referred to them, and they have a brief report. Tracy Smith-Malone, I believe. You have that for us, please?
Thank you, Bishop, and good afternoon, everyone. All of the members of the Committee on Agenda and Calendar met over the lunch break, and our sole agenda item was to discuss the matter that was referred to us, that matter being to have all plenary sessions limited to opening and closing prayer and necessary business and elections until all resolutions and petitions before us have been considered. The committee hears the frustration behind the request, but we unanimously recommend that there be no changes to the schedule as approved this morning. We have several reasons for this recommendation, and we have some suggestions for how we can use our time more wisely. Among our concerns is that many of those involved in special reports and celebrations have traveled to General Conference for the specific days and times that these events were originally scheduled and would not be able to rearrange their schedules to accommodate a change in the schedule. The Program Committee of the Commission on the General Conference worked very hard to grant time requests fairly and efficiently, and they intentionally spread the presentations over the course of the plenary sessions based on the feedback that was received from the 2012 General Conference. The members of the Committee on Agenda and Calendar agree that hearing reports and celebrations provides the opportunities for delegates to learn about and celebrate things that are happening around the world, and that in many cases, what we hear can help inform our decisions as delegates on the matters that are before us. The members of the committee agree that we need to be better stewards of our time, and we remind the body that scheduled plenary presentations that go over the time approved will have microphones and videos cut off. We will work with the committee on presiding officers to encourage presiding bishops to remind delegates who bring points of order to be more succinct. The Secretary of the General Conference will work with those who are assisting the General Conference with technology and asking them to explore ways to be more efficient. Mostly, the committee members would encourage delegates to choose more carefully how and when they bring points of order, questions, or motions to the body. Perhaps some points of order could be answered by checking first at your table. Speakers who are recognized are asked to limit introductory explanations and speak directly to the point of order that they are raising. Let us be better stewards of our time together. The Committee on Agenda and Calendar recommends that we keep the schedule as it now stands. Bishop, that ends my report.
All right, thank you. In the spirit of that report, I'm going to move us back to finish the elections we were on this morning. So I would ask the delegates to turn to page 2076. We need to finish electing the clergy at-large members of the Judicial Council. So if you would turn to page 2076, in the second column on that page, you see clergy nominated by both the council bishops and from the floor. We'll be voting, as you did right before the break, for the lay at-large members. We'll be voting for 6. We'll be doing that in order sequentially. So I'd like to invite you to get your voting machines ready. And there you see on the screen all the clergy who've not yet been elected who are eligible to be elected to be at-large members of the Judicial Council. I hope you're all clear in what we'll be doing. We'll be voting sequentially, one at a time, one selection at a time. The first ballot will be for all 6, and we'll see how the voting goes. So if you would take your machines, enter your first selection, the number of the first person you wish to vote for, enter that selection, then press send. Please vote now. All right. If you'll now enter your second selection, the number of the second selection, and press send, please vote now. All right, thank you. If you would now enter the number of your third selection and press send, please vote now. All right, if you now enter the numbers for your fourth selection and press send, please vote now. All right, if you'll now enter the numbers for your fifth selection and press send, please vote now. Oops. Hold still, let me ask our tech people if we're ready to do the sixth selection. They're checking to see what happened. Hang on. I'm being told we are going to have to do this vote over again. I apologize. So in just a moment, you'll start back making your first selection. There was a glitch in the software, apparently. I've now told you more than I understand about computers. All right, here we go again. If you would enter your first selection and press send, please vote now. All right. If you would now enter the numbers for your second selection and press send, please vote now. All right, if you'll now enter the numbers for your third selection and press send, please vote now. We're in the middle of a ballot. Is this related to the ballot, sir? Let me ask you to go to microphone and I'll hear your concern. Microphone 2.
Bishop Rukang Chikam from Southwest Katanga. On our table, some machines are not functioning. You punch the number, it's not responding. The first one, the name never showed up. It showed received.
All right, let me consult with our tech people to see what we can do.
Thank you.
Some machines. I'm told as long as your machine said received, that means your vote was cast, even if it didn't show the name. If you're having trouble with the machine, I'd ask you to call a page and get a different machine then. Can we have a page help this table, please? Did we do 3 already? We did 3. Make sure he has a new machine. We're going to be ready to do 4, I believe. All right, he's got his device, so we're ready to have your fourth selection. Please enter the numbers, press send. Please vote now. Okay, before we do fifth, I want to make sure, sir, did you get your device? I cannot hear you, I'm sorry. You have to go to microphone. Microphone 2.
Rukang Chikomba, Northwest Katanga. Bishop, it seems like we're talking too much on the microphone. We don't have the machine, but the message was like they received the machine. And the vote went without us getting the machines.
They're bringing you a different machine, it looks like right now. Okay. So we're ready to enter your fifth selection.
His machine, he's just going to be out of order because we're not having on one of them.
Are you ready, sir? I think he needs some assistance here, please.
It can't register as a valid vote because it hasn't done the earlier votes.
Oh, I see. I'm getting the thumbs up sign. So let's proceed. Enter your fifth selection. Press send. Please vote now. All right. Please enter the numbers for your sixth selection and press send. Please vote now. Thank you. The ballot's closed. While they're tabulating, I have a couple people with points of order. I apologize, I'm probably mispronouncing his name. Rukang Chikom, if you would go to microphone 2, please. He's saying no, you're okay now? Okay, thank you. Jennifer Ilo, is yours still a new point of order, or is this left over in the queue? Microphone 2, please.
I want to be sure that, one, we remember we've got one more to elect on the lay delegate side for the Judicial Council.
They were elected before lunch, ma'am.
Not the sixth one. It was?
Yes, it was. The body wanted to vote again, and Bishop Stanovsky kept you in session, and you voted. Shall I read the name of the person who was elected sixth, in case you missed it? Jacob Bapare Lawan was the last lay alternate elected. We're ready for the results on the clergy side now. 546 valid, 274 required. It looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elected. Well, they would be elected in order, so that'd be the ones listed. Tim, Angela, Deanna, Belton, Catherine, Greg. That would be 6. I hear a call for point of order. Since you're not in the queue, I'll take you anyway. Microphone 2.
Sir, if we voted for 6, I don't think it's possible that 9 people got more than 50%. Or is it just a plurality?
This is a majority vote, so we'll double check with the text to see if we have any kind of error here.
Thank you.
They're checking. It looked like the number of persons voting was lower than it has been. I wonder if that was a mistaken report.
Because the number of valid voters is low. There's 6 spots, so each person gets 6 votes.
Yeah, but more than that. I'm told by the tech people that's an accurate voting count, that it's the invalid ballots that are not showing that would make up for the differential there. So I'm going to have to declare that that was a vote that was passed, and the top 6 vote getters would then be the clergy alternates to Judicial Council. We're going to turn now to University Senate, same page, and we'll vote in categories. We'll start first with the CEOs. You look at those on page 2076. These votes are a plurality vote. So we'll be casting 2 votes for CEOs nominated either by the council bishops or the floor. And then we'll do a second set of votes for the right-hand column. So I hope you're clear. We're voting on page 2076 under University Senate. Those on the left-hand column where it says CEOs nominated by the council bishops and or CEOs nominated from the floor, you'll be casting votes, you'll be casting 2 selections. But it is only a plurality vote, so whoever the 2 highest vote getters will be those who are elected. Are we ready to vote? If you'll take your voting devices, I'll wait for the screen to come up. It's coming, they say. They're changing the computer system read from majority to plurality because that's the rules for this election. So hang on for a minute. All right, it's on your screen. We'll be doing two different selections. So if you would, at this point, enter the number of your first selection and press send. Please vote now. All right. If you enter now your second selection and press send, please vote now. All right, we'll hold for the results. Remind you, this is a plurality votes. Whoever are the top two vote getters are elected. And they are Kesap Owen Shibang, I'm saying this wrong, I'm sure, and Nathaniel Ahuhu. They are elected on the CEO's side of that page. If you would now look on that same page, 2076, and on the right-hand column, you can vote for any two persons nominated either by the Council of Bishops or from the floor. Wait for that screen to come up, and we'll be ready to cast two selections again. Wait just a moment.
Why don't you call for Patrick Strike to come up now and be in place with...
Okay. Following this last election, which we're doing, we'll start into calendar business, and Bishop Strife, you'll be the first one up. So just you could come on up and be prepared for that, please. Are we ready? All right. If you'll enter your first selection, the numbers of your first selection, and press send, please vote now. All right. If you enter your second selection, the numbers for your second selection, and press send, please vote now. All right, thank you. The vote's closed now. We'll wait for the results. Again, this is a plurality, so it'll be the top two vote getters. And here are the results. The 2 would be Bill Arnold and David Watson. So congratulations, folks. That completes all of this kind of voting you're doing today and electing. You can applaud for that. That'd be okay. All right. As I get ready to turn now to planned calendar items, I have a couple points of order on the screen, so let me ask if they still are relevant. Timothy Riss, microphone 6, did you have a point of order?
Yes, and you can tell me if it's still relevant. On the previous ballot, it is mathematically impossible for all 9 positions to get more than 50% of the vote because they have to add up to the number of voters times 9.
Times 6.
Actually, times 6, yeah.
I don't know any more than what I've told you, which is the tech people told me that what you're not seeing are the numbers of invalid ballots.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. If you wish to,
instead of 6,
is there an action you'd like the conference to take?
I would like to revote because it's just not possible.
Well, let me test the body and see if they'd like to revote. That was the election of, which one was it? The clergy alternates.
No, Judicial Council had 6 alternates.
I'm sorry, it was on the Judicial Council vote. The alternates. Let me test the body. If you take your voting machines, and if you would like to retake that vote, you'll be pressing 1 for yes. If you don't want to, you'll press 2 for no, which means the results I announced would stand. We're not quite ready yet for that because they're still processing other things. Let me see if I can try that with the cards since their system isn't ready. If you take your cards, let's try the old-fashioned way. If you'd like me to retake that vote on the 6 clergy alternates, would you raise your cards? Thank you, put them down. And if you don't want to retake that vote, would you raise your cards? Well, clearly you don't want to retake the vote, so the vote will stand. Thank you. I do understand the concern, and I'm not a mathematician, so I apologize. Marshall Bailey, microphone 6, had a point of order or inquiry. Marshall Bailey.
Bishop Marshall Bailey, Virginia Conference. Just for the math on that, if you take 500 times 6, you get 3,000, and then you divide that by 9, and you get 333, which means you can have 9 candidates elected.
All right.
Just to point that out. Thank you.
I regret it was a long time ago I took a math class. Okay. Ron Enns, microphone 3, says he has new business. It really would need to be related to the calendar items we're calling upon, but let me hear what you have to say. Ron Enns, microphone 3, I think it was.
Thank you, Bishop. Ron Enns, Northwest Texas.
I don't know where you are. There you are.
I have a petition to refer a matter to the Judicial Council.
That would be in order.
I move that the General Conference petition the Judicial Council of the United Methodist Church for a declaratory decision on the meaning, application, and effect of paragraphs 542.1 and 542.2 of the 2012 Book of Discipline of the United Methodist Church with respect to, number 1, whether the time and place of meetings of a central conference after its first meeting is to be determined by the central conference or its executive committee or by the central conference itself or its bishops, and as to the impact of an adaptation of these provisions of the Book of Discipline in paragraph 409 of the 1990 Congo Central Conference Book of Discipline. Number 2, whether under the aforementioned paragraphs, the College of Bishops of the Congo Central Conference has the authority to change the time and place of the meeting from that established during the 2012 meeting of the Congo Central Conference. And if I get a second, I'd like to speak to that.
Is there a second? I don't hear one. Is there a second? I hear one now. Go ahead, sir.
Bishop, I was asked to present this this request by members of the Congo delegation, and I'm just going to repeat some comments that they wrote down. We are very disappointed that our bishops have changed the time and place of our Central Conference meeting from this year until March of 2017. We don't know what to do about it. We do not have any recourse. From a clergy member, our bishops are merely extending their terms for an additional 7 months. There is no valid reason for this change, and the reasons they give are just a pretext for the underlying reason. If this decision can be challenged and changed, we would be very glad. We've always met in August of the year of the General Conference, except in 2005, when these bishops criticized Bishop Onima for delaying Central Conference. Now it is they who are manipulating the system for themselves. An additional clergy from South Congo. We would appeal this decision and do not feel that the bishops have the authority to do this, but we are afraid of what they would do to us if we spoke publicly. Our book of discipline seems clear, and we would be glad to have a decision from the Judicial Council on this matter and will abide by their ruling. We will vote for this motion. An additional clergy from Central Congo area. Our bishops act like they are tribal chiefs, and I apologize, this is not my language. Our bishops act like they are tribal chiefs and answer to no one for their violations of our book of discipline. This is only one of the times that they have ignored the discipline, but we are powerless to question or oppose them. We have no recourse if they decide to punish us. Our ministerial committees are manipulated by them to punish us. The discipline is a weapon that is used against us, but does not apply to them. And finally, a layman from South Congo. Why would they move our Central Conference meeting outside of the Congo to Zambia? It will make it very difficult for many delegates to attend the conference. We do not understand this unprecedented move, but we don't know how to appeal it. We will all vote for this motion so as to get clarity on this question. Thank you.
All right, this is a request to go to Judicial Council. It needs passed only by 20% of you. So I'm going to go ahead and take the vote unless I see someone urgently wanting to speak, because I think you want to move on. So if you would take out your voting devices, if you vote number 1 for yes, it means you want this referral to go to Judicial Council. If you do not, you would vote 2 for no. Please vote now. So obviously more than 20%, so the request is referred to the Judicial Council and it's been brought forward in writing, so we'll have it for them. Thank you. I'm going to move on now to where we would have been at 2 o'clock. And that is we're turning to our DCA items and calendar items. The first person up to report is Bishop Patrick Strife, and he'll come and share that item of business with you. Bishop Strife. Bishop Strife's going to explain where we are, and he's going to speak to it in French, so I just want you to be prepared then.
Well, I say first in English, the first calendar item you will find on page 1906 of your DCA. Calendar item number 7. Je parlerai en français.
I will speak French.
Dans la DCA, vous avez à la page 1906.
At page 1906,
Le point à l'ordre du jour numéro 7.
you will find
avec le
item
titre
7.
General Provisions. Ça, c'est la première chose
The first thing
à débattre.
to be
Et
debated.
si je parle en français,
If I speak French,
vous mettre un petit peu
it is so
dans la situation dans
that you
laquelle
will
nous
have a
travaillons
simulation
dans le comité permanent.
of what it is to be part of the permanent committee,
Nous utilisons
standing committee.
souvent les 3 langues,
We
anglais, français ou
have English,
portugais,
French
aussi dans nos délibérations. Et ça nous aide
in our
à être
deliberations.
bien à l'écoute l'un de l'autre. J'aimerais
The other.
brièvement introduire ce premier point
I would like briefly
calendar item, point à l'ordre du jour numéro 7.
On item 7,
Il y a plusieurs amendements dans cette pétition. Je vais
there are several
brièvement
amendments to
parler
this
sur
petition.
ces amendements. Au début, les premières lignes,
In the first
c'est
lines,
pour mettre le langage qui est nécessaire à ce
it
que
is
nous
to adopt
vivons
something
déjà
that is
maintenant,
necessary.
mais pour être sûr que c'est dans l'article de la discipline.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing the
Puis un
bishop.
peu
If someone could
plus
help me.
vers le bas, il y a
It is
un langage qui dit que
a language that says,
You listen to the floor because there's some.
thank you, it's been corrected, thank you.
un peu plus vers le bas, à peu
Further
près
down,
dans les lignes, autour des lignes 12,
Around
c'est-
line 12,
c'est écrit que
what is written is
les
that
personnes
the
membres
persons
sont nommées par le
are named
Conseil des évêques.
by
Ça, c'est
the
la situation
Council of Bishops. That is the current
actuelle, et avec
situation,
cela,
and
nous simplement continuons la
we will
situation
simply then be
actuelle
continuing
pour
the
avoir
current
les noms
situation
présents à la conférence générale
to have the
pour être
persons
élus
not
lors de la
present at the
conférence
general
générale.
conference so that they can be
Puis,
elected
il y a
at general
4
conference.
lignes
And then 4 lines
qui
further down,
sont une proposition nouvelle dans cet
we have a new
amendement,
proposal
c'est-à-dire
in
que
this
les
amendment
conférences centrales
so
qui
that
ont
the central
plus de
conferences
3 évêques
that have more than 3 bishops
reçoivent des
will
membres
receive
en plus
additional members
comme membres du Standing Committee.
as members of the Standing Committee.
Ça concerne les 3 conférences centrales en
So
Afrique
those are the 3 central conferences
qui
in Africa
recevront ainsi
who will thus
davantage
receive
de membres.
more members.
Et puis un peu
And
plus loin vers
then,
le bas de
further
cette
on,
ligne du milieu,
in this middle
nous
column,
changeons l'évêque qui vient
we are
de la conférence
changing
centrale,
the bishop from the
qui sera
central
membre
conference,
du comité permanent,
who will be a member of
pour
the
l'évêque
standing
qui est
committee,
dans
for the bishop
l'office
who is in
pour l'unité des chrétiens et
the
les
Office of
relations
Christian Unity and
interreligieuses.
interreligious relationships.
Et tout à la fin,
And at the end,
au milieu de la colonne de droite,
in
il y a
the
simplement
right column
une
at the bottom,
addition
the middle,
que
you have an
cette
addition
législation,
that this legislation,
si vous votez pour,
if you vote for it,
prendra tout de suite effet de
will
sorte
take
que
effect
nous pouvons
immediately
encore voter
so that
lors
we
de
can
cette
vote
conférence
during
générale
this general
pour les
conference
délégués
for the
additionnels,
delegates, the additional
de
delegates
l'Afrique.
from
Ceci
Africa.
sont les amendements
These are
à cette
the
pétition.
amendments to this petition.
All right, thank you. So what's before us is the entire calendar item number 7. Bishop Strife has indicated to you the ways in which it has been amended. It is now before you as an entire calendar item. Are there those who want to speak for or against this calendar item before we vote on it? Calendar item number 7. There's no one in the queue and no one waving a card, so I'm going to put the vote for calendar item 7. You'll be using your voting machines, and number 1 will mean you vote to approve calendar item 7. Number 2 will mean you vote not to approve it. As soon as they're ready, we'll put that up on the screen. Please enter and vote now. Thank you. It has been approved. We now turn to our next calendar item, which is calendar item number 6. And Bishop Strife, are you also presenting that?
Oui, le prochain, c'est le point 6 qui demande que le Rwanda
Is point 6 that asks that Rwanda could be a provisional annual conference.
Simplement un petit rappel,
A small reminder,
la pétition
the petition
dans dans la ADCA à la page 911.
is on page
Simplement un
911
petit
of the
rappel,
DCA.
la création
The creation
conférence
of
annuelle
an
provisoire
provisional annual
doit
conference
être
must
décidée
be decided
par la conférence
by
générale.
the General Conference.
Le Rwanda
Rwanda
remplit tous les critères
meets
nécessaires
all of the
et pour
necessary
cela,
criteria,
le comité
and
permanent
for that reason, the Standing Committee
voté en
has
faveur
voted
de
in
cette
favor of this petition.
All right, it is properly before you. Any discussion or questions about calendar item number 6? Seeing none, we'll be ready to put the vote. Again, you will vote by your keypads, and vote number 1 if you approve, number 2 if you do not approve. Please vote now. And it is approved. Thank you for your voting. I'm going to just test the House verbally. Are you doing so well with this? These kind of votes, we could do it in 20 seconds? Can we do 20 seconds when we take the next votes? Any objection? All right, we'll try that. Thank you. We're now ready for calendar item number 3. Again, Bishop Strife is presenting that.
Il s'agit de la
This is the initial petition. You will find it on page 914 of the ADCA. It is about the creation of the Uganda Annual Conference, and the Standing Committee voted to send this petition, this request, back to the Central Conference in Africa. Why this referral back to the Africa Central Conference? The Book of Discipline says that jurisdictional conferences and central conferences may decide about the number and the limits of the annual conferences. That authority, if the Central Conference decides, that can be done. So we decided that we should not make the decision here in the General Conference, but to refer it back to the Africa Central Conference so that the Africa Central Conference can act on this request. And thus, we are proposing that it be referred back to the respective Africa Central Conference.
Okay, that is properly before us as a referral. I have in the queue Nancy DiNardo, microphone 6, who wishes to amend that motion to refer. You'd have to do so to amend it for Nancy. Where are you? There you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. Nancy DiNardo, Western Pennsylvania Annual Conference Laity. I move to amend the petition by the following. On line 1, after Uganda, add Kenya and Kenya.
Excuse me, Nancy, but the motion is actually to refer, so I don't think an amendment on the petition is in order.
Okay.
You'd have to be amending the referral motion.
Okay, I would like to amend the motion to refer.
Go ahead.
Or is that not allowed? Okay.
What I'm saying is the content of the petition is not before us. What's before us is the motion to refer the petition.
I see. I can do that.
I bet you can.
Will you permit me?
Why don't you go ahead and let's try it.
Okay. Thank you. The Standing Committee of Central Conference Matters recommended referral of the petition to the Africa Central Conference College of Bishops. Given the lack of resolution on the GCFA and GBGM complaint after 3 years, and Judicial Council direction, there is a lack of confidence that assistance would be offered to aid Uganda in Kenya in any way.
Thank you. I believe what you're doing is making a speech against referral then.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're saying you don't want to refer to that group?
Correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak for or against the referral? I have Sarah Sissi Numakos, microphone 5, wants to speak in favor, I believe, of referral. I apologize if I'm messing up your name.
Thank you, Bishop. Sarah Sissi, East Africa Episcopal Area.
Thank you.
East Africa Episcopal Area is composed of 6 independent countries, and it will be a disadvantage to the rest of the other independent countries if Uganda alone is appointed to be an annual conference. And to add on to that, it was not excessively adopted in the Africa Central Conference. So for those reasons, I refer that this petition be referred back to the Africa Central Conference for more consideration. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you. So we've had a speech for, against, and then for this motion to refer. Anyone else wish to speak for or against it? I see no one in the queue. So we'll put the vote, and the question is, do you want to refer it as indicated by the committee? Patrick, you want to speak for the committee?
Juste très brièvement, si nous le renvoyons à la
If we send it back to the Central Conference, the Central Conference will be the one to say if this annual conference is created in addition, and also to say what the boundaries, the limits of that annual conference will be. So the annual conference is free to say if it wants to include Kenya or no. But it belongs to the Central Conference to make that decision. That's where the decision resides properly.
All right. So the motion is to refer. If you will approve that motion, you'll be pressing 1. If you do not approve that, you'll be pressing 2. Please vote now. And you've said yes, the motion is referred as indicated. So we'll go to our next calendar item. Let me alert Charles Boyu that we'll be coming to you after Bishop Strife finishes another calendar item or 2. Bishop Strife, I think we're ready for calendar item 5.
Oui, le prochain sujet, c'est le numéro 5.
The next item is number 5.
Intitulé Comprehensive Plan for Africa.
Comprehensive Plan for Africa.
Il y aura Rodney Steele qui était le président pour ce travail
for this work
sur le comité, dans le comité permanent,
in the
et c'est lui qui
standing
introduira à
committee
ce point.
is going to speak on this point. His name is Rodney Steele.
We'll hear from you, Rodney.
My name is Rodney Steele from Arkansas. And I want to share with you that this petition is based upon prayer, spiritual discernment, and objective criteria that focused on the workload of a bishop. For example, we looked at the number of congregations and pastors, the number of districts and superintendents, the size of the area staff and ministries, all of which are indisputable statistics. We also considered the geographic size of the Episcopal area, as well as the number of time zones and the languages used within. We examined the amount of infrastructure for communications, transportation, education, and basic public services, as well as the number of national borders crossed by the Episcopal area. With our criteria in hand, we made on-site visits and came to the conclusion that is stated in the petition: 5 new bishops for Africa beginning in 2020. We've been asked, if the need is so great, why wait until 2020? To use an analogy, if you throw a pebble into the lake, it will make ripples. If you throw a lot of big rocks at one time, they will make waves. This will make a big impact on our budget, and GCFA will need the time and the mandate to prepare for the funding. This is not a request to study the issue for 4 more years. If approved, it becomes a mandate to prepare for 5 new bishops in Africa beginning in 2020. The central conferences will need the time to prepare properly to receive and support the new bishops. Previously, this did not happen with the most recent new Episcopal area, and they were not ready, and it led to a delay and frustration. If we vote for this, we need to have everyone ready from day one to begin their ministry. Moreover, our plan offers a great opportunity for representatives and leadership of the central conferences to come together and envision the best places for the new areas, not imposed upon them, but created by them in a future-oriented collaborative process, if they so choose. This time will allow for new possibilities that are beyond simply dividing existing Episcopal areas. With the unanimous vote of the Standing Committee, we ask for your support for this petition. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So calendar item number 5 is before us properly. If there are persons who want to speak for or against that, this will be a motion to adopt, not to refer, but to adopt calendar item number 5. I see Rudolph Mereb, microphone 6, wishes to, I believe, to amend. Rudolph, are you over there? He's coming to the microphone.
Rudolph Merab, Library Annual Conference. Would like to thank the committee for doing such a brilliant job. But I think the presenter did mention that we do not want to put a rock that will cause a big wave. So we'd like to amend this petition by saying that we create 2 Episcopal areas now and 3 can wait for 2020, so that the impact today will be on 2 and the one for 2020 will be on 3, Bishop.
All right, that's a motion to amend. Is there a second? I hear seconds. Would you like to go ahead and speak to it, Rudolph?
Yes, Bishop. The issue of Africa is an issue that we all need to grasp with. It's a huge continent and the bishops are overloaded. And right now, we think we do need bishops to help us in our job in evangelizing. And therefore, we are requesting that we get 2 additional bishops. And therefore, we ask that we amend this to add 2 bishops immediately.
All right, thank you. This might be a point to remind the body that when we pass anything like this, if it were passed with financial implications, it also would be referred to GCFA, which I chair, to bring back recommendations as part of the final budgeting, but this before us properly.
And Bishop, 1 in Nigeria and 1 in Zimbabwe.
All right, we'll take that as a part of your motion to amend, to establish 2 new Episcopal areas now, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, and the other 3 to be indicated as is listed in the petition. All right, are there those who wish to speak for or against this? In the queue, I see a lot of people wanting to speak. I hope it's on this topic. John Auta, A-U-T-A. You want to speak to microphone 1, speak for. Are you speaking for the amendment? Sir. Yes.
John Auta from Nigeria, Bishop. I want to pick for this motion. Looking at Africa and looking at the lot of work our bishops are doing, I want to move that this conference should agree that 2 more bishops be created in the area as said in the amendment. Bishop, Nigeria in particular, if I want to tell you, is just like the size of Alaska and even more. That it becomes very difficult for one bishop conference, general conference. I want to make an appeal that is becoming impossible for one bishop to take care of this very large country, a country that is going under hostility of Boko Haram. I think this conference should vote for this additional 2 bishops. Thank you.
All right, thank you. As a speech 4, I have no one wanting to speak against, but I have some inquiries or points of order. Let me turn to them next. Monday Moyombo, microphone 3, I believe, is a point of order or clarification. Microphone 3.
Bishop, thank you. It seems to me that there was a study that was conducted for specific context with analysis of data, interviews, visit. So if there was any consideration of that, I would like to know what are the specific places where the study was conducted.
All right, so your point of information is to ask what study would identify these 2 areas to be implemented immediately. Is that correct, sir?
What are the places, the countries, and episcopal areas?
Are you asking, sir, for the 2 immediate in the amendment plus the additional 3? Are you asking for the identification of the 2 areas?
I'm referring to the study of the Standing Committee.
All right, let me ask the committee if they could respond to that, please.
The areas studied were Katanga, South Congo, and Zimbabwe. Those were the specific areas that we studied on site.
Okay, you may have to talk more into the microphone next time.
Yes, sir.
All right. I have another point of order of parliamentary inquiry. Sandra Olwine, microphone 2. Let me know if it's a point of order or a point of information or what it is, please. Sandra?
Thank you, Bishop. Sandra Olwine, California Pacific Annual Conference. It's a point of information. I'm not clear on when we get the financial implications of this, before or after we vote, because it seems like it doesn't make a lot of sense to vote for it and then get financial information following it, but I don't know the procedure.
In essence, what happens if you vote to approve this, it's a referral to GCFA who would bring that back for further action while we're here. I don't think they're ready right now to respond off the cuff, so thank you. William Bronson had a parliamentary point, microphone 4, William Brownson. Hope I'm saying your name right, sir.
Yes, thank you, Bishop. Bill Brownson, Lay, West Ohio. My question is, did the committee consider 2 episcopal areas now and 3 in the future as part of their deliberations, which led to
all right, we'll ask the committee to respond. Then, did you consider this option now?
Say again, please, sir.
They're wondering if you considered this type of action in your deliberations. The 2 and the 3.
Yes, we did. And the need was so great that we wanted to increase the numbers. We wanted to not have a piecemeal procedure where individual requests are made, but have a comprehensive approach to it as well. Giving those who aren't able to work the process here at General Conference, who aren't familiar with the United Methodist system, an equal chance to voice their concerns together with other Central Conference representatives and delegates.
All right, thank you. I now have some people who want to speak against the motion to amend. So let me call on one of those. I'm trying to keep this balanced. Monday Mayombo wants to speak against from microphone 3.
Bishop, in regard of my previous question, I think we have to honor the work of the Standing Committee. There was time, resources, and they visited places, they interviewed pastors, and they came up with this plan. Let me say this. If we want bishops, it is because of the work. So let's teach the work first. Let's not look for people who want to be bishops now. So therefore, I vote against this.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, we had a speech for and against. Let me take another speech for the motion to amend. Betty, I'm not saying your name wrong. Catillo, microphone 3. Betty, microphone 3.
Thank you, Bishop. I would like to speak for.
Okay.
I think it has been made very clear that this study was very specific, and what they were actually looking for was the criteria to come up with bishops. And they actually visited some of the annual conferences, and I am speaking for, like I said, I think it is proper at this stage that we have the additional bishops rather than refer it and defer it for another quadrennium, when in their speech they've indicated that there's a lot of work going on and there's a need to have bishops. We are all aware that the church is growing in Africa, and we don't want to stifle that growth. So I am speaking for. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you. I'm going to turn now to someone who wants to speak against. Let me call on Janice Nelson at microphone 1. Janice, I believe you want to speak against the motion to amend.
Jan Nelson, Oregon, Idaho. I want to speak against the amendment. I think I feel a little bit like I expect some of my Central Conference colleagues feel when we talk about something that affects primarily the United States. I don't have enough information. I don't know if these are the two places that are most in need of a bishop. I really think that if we make this decision now to put 2 bishops in these 2 places, that too many of us don't know the best solution for Africa. And it would be much better to have a longer-term solution rather than a quick fix, which might not be the best for the long-term future of the church in Africa. So I speak against the amendment.
All right, thank you. We've had 2 speeches for and against the amendment. The amendment would be to have these 2 new areas immediately, the other 3 areas studied, I presume, as indicated in the original motion. I have a lot of people want to speak for and against. Let me see, I have one point of order. I lost him. Rukang Chikom, microphone 2. Yes, sir. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm sure I am.
Bishop, thank you. Rukang Chikom, West Katanga, Northwest Katanga. Bishop,
Northwest Katanga, yes, sir.
My name is always a tough one to say. I forgive you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bishop, this is a point of information. I just want a clarification. Can the standing committee give me a paragraph in a book of discipline that stop those conferences to support the bishop financially?
I'm sorry, would you ask the question again? I was not hearing it.
Can the standing committee give me any paragraph in a book of discipline that says the annual conferences Episcopal area requested cannot support financially their bishop in case we want to pay for our bishop for a while?
Oh, standing committee, can you answer that?
Selon la constitution dans notre Église,
of our church,
tous les surintendants généraux
general superintendents must be treated equally. Therefore, through GCFA, we have the Episcopal Fund that pays for bishops. All together, we all participate into it. And out of this general fund, the bishops are paid. None of the bishops are directly paid by their own annual conference or are depending on what the local conference or the episcopal area pays. This is our connectional operating mode.
Thank you. I have two different people want to move the previous question. I'm just picking one randomly. David Bard, microphone 5. Is that the motion you want to make, sir?
Yes, it is, Bishop. David Bard, Minnesota Conference. I would like to move the previous question on the amendment.
Previous question on the amendment only. So if you'll take out your voting keypads, if you want to end this debate and discussion and move toward the vote, you'll vote 1 for yes. If you don't want to end the discussion, you'll vote 2 for no. So the question is to move the question, which means to end the debate. If you would please enter your vote and vote now. Okay, that requires 2/3, and it's clearly more than 2/3. So you have said you are ready to end the debate and now to vote on the amendment only. Let me ask the maker of the amendment if you could clarify one more time what the amendment is, and I'll let the committee respond to it. Do we have the amendment here in writing? We do not have it in writing. Let me see if I can summarize it. The amendment was to go ahead and establish 2 new Episcopal areas in Nigeria and Zimbabwe now, and to follow through with the study of the other 3 areas as indicated in the petition. I believe that was the amendment.
Yes, Bishop.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're going to vote on that now. If you will approve the amendment, you'll be pressing 1. If you do not approve that amendment, you'll be pressing 2. Please vote now. Oh, I'm waiting for the results. While I'm waiting, I'm asked to remind you if you make an amendment and a motion of any kind to bring a copy of it to the secretary. Or to a page, yes. Waiting for the results. Do we have the results? They're saying we need to revote on that amendment. I apologize. We're having some technical difficulties, as they say. So once again, if you take your voting devices, if you approve the amendment, press 1. If you do not approve the amendment, press 2. Please vote now. So the amendment is not approved, so we're back on the main calendar item number 5, and I'm clearing the queue since we've finished that last line of discussion. So we're now back open to those who want to speak for or against calendar item number 5. Or are you ready to go ahead and vote on it? I see no one entering the queue or wanting to speak, so let me put calendar item 5 to a vote. because we're up very close to our order of the day, which is a celebration of United Methodist Women. So if we can have the screen, we're going to vote yes or no on calendar item number 5 as it was printed. You'll be entering voting 1 if you approve calendar item 5. You'll vote 2 if you do not approve it. Are we ready to take that vote? Not quite. I'm trying not to rush. We are still having a problem with hotspots. So let me just say, part of our interference with these votes is when folks have a hotspot on and it messes up the wireless in the room. So if you have made your device into hotspot, please turn that off. I'm sorry. Friends, I wonder if, since the system is not working at the moment, if we could take the vote with your cards. Are you willing to do that? Oh, he's up now. Every time I say it's going to come up. All right, if you approve calendar item 5, press 1. If you do not, press 2. Please vote now. All right, you've approved calendar item number 5. Thank you for all your attentiveness. We are now to an important order of the day, a celebration of the anniversary of United Methodist Women. At the end of their presentation, I think they're asking me to give a benediction, and that will lead us into your break time. But be prepared for a celebration of this important group in the life of our church.
Children, I'm gonna do what the Spirit say do.
Please join United Methodist Women in celebrating their 150th anniversary.
What happens when women organize for mission? Women have been in mission for centuries. But it was in 1869 when the Methodist Episcopal Church women learned from the wives of male missionaries that women in India could not be served by the men, and they decided to do something about it. They organized the Women's Foreign Missionary Society and mobilized U.S. women to raise funds to send a woman doctor, Clara Swain, and a woman educator, Isabella Thoburn, to India to serve women and children. Their bold and courageous action galvanized a women's mission movement that is still turning faith, hope, and love into action today. United Methodist Women members serve in their communities and speak up against injustice. Their generous second and third mile giving supports mission around the world. And everywhere we go, we join women who are already at work as agents of change. This is what happens when women organize for mission.
What happens when women organize for mission? The need of women, children, and youth, who are the least of these in every society, not only get on the table, they are placed front and center on the table. That's what daring, giving United Methodist Women deaconess and leaders did more than 100 years ago when they set out to serve women, children, and youth in the United States. Those women founded schools for newly freed African Americans after the Civil War, settlement houses for new immigrants, and mothers' clubs for poor communities. And the Four Mothers' work remains. Today, United Methodist Women supports 96 national mission institutions providing services like child care and family programs, camps for kids with special needs, and assistance to immigrants and survivors of human trafficking. Church, this is what happens when women organize for mission.
What happens when women organize for mission? The lives of international youth, women, and children change. I know. I am Emma Cantor, as one of the United Methodist Women's Regional Missionaries, engaged in edgy and compassionate work for gender equality, for leadership development, and peace building. Development experts now say what our foremothers knew long time ago: women's lives matter. Thank you. When women are educated and empowered, the lives of children, families, and communities improve, and their nation progresses, because that's what happens when women organize for mission.
So raise your hand in this place, make some noise if you've ever been to a school of Christian mission or Mission U. Yeah. Thank you. Making disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world happens as we are transformed by the renewing of our minds. That's what happens at Mission U, a transformative education program offered not only to United Methodist women members, but also to the larger, wider church to promote spiritual growth and mission outreach that is informed, faithful, and loving. Yes, transformative education happens when women organize for mission.
And women still need to organize for mission, because in the 21st century, 250,000 women die worldwide from preventable causes related to pregnancy. Climate change is responsible for 5 million deaths annually. The United States has the highest incarceration rate in the world, and the top 10% of the US population has twice the amount of wealth than the bottom 90%. And that's why United Methodist Women will continue to organize for mission, grow in our most precious faith, and work on maternal and child health, climate justice, ending criminalization of communities of color and mass incarceration, and ending economic inequality.
In the 21st century, women still need to organize for mission.
I am proud.
I am proud.
I am proud.
I am proud.
I am proud to be part of a 150-year-old women's movement organized for mission.
United Methodist Women, you rock. Missionaries could not do what we do without you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Felicidades, mujeres metodistas.
Happy 150th.
When the Spirit says shout, yeah, let us shout like the children of the Bible. Shout, shout, shout.
Thank you so much. We're now on break for 20 minutes, but let's celebrate with them and say once again, happy birthday, United Methodist Women. Happy birthday, United Methodist Women. We're now on break.